everything is related to measurements. तो हम किसी भी काम को अगर करना चाहते हैं, उसको समझना चाहते हैं और उसको जानना चाहते हैं और उसमें इम्प्रूवमेंट करना चाहते हैं, मेजरमेंट इज द की एस्पेक्ट. हम मेजरमेंट्स को अपनी डेली लाइफ में बहुत ज्यादा इग्नोर करते हैं. वी हैव अ काइंड ऑफ टेंडेंसी टू इग्नोर मेजरमेंट्स इन आवर डेली लाइफ, in our I would say that scientific works also at times. But when I will explain you certain things, you will get to know कि measurements हमारे लिए कितना ज़्यादा important है, and we ought to be serious for the measurements. Okay? So all of us measure things. हम जब भी कोई काम करते हैं, whenever we do some work, we kind of do the measurements. But we never bother about how the measurement results are. Are they accurate? Are they wrong? Are they right? Am I measuring right? Is my measuring device working correctly? How important are these measurements? If at all I have to measure a line, I can be little careless. But if I have to measure a semiconductor circuit, semiconductor circuit's dimensions, I have to be little more careful. If I have to measure something which is to be used in the aerospace sector, I have to be very, very careful, because if the measurements are wrong, there may be very, very serious after effects of those wrong measurements. But initial stage में हम लोग ये realize कर ही नहीं पाते हैं कि measurements का correct होना, किसी measurement के लिए correct device का use करना और उस measurement की severity को process शुरू करने से पहले समझना कितना जरूरी है. Okay, so we kind of ignore all these things. And as Dr. Poonam Arora told you that NPL is the NMI of India. NMI is the National Metrology Institute. I'll come to that in my upcoming slides. So my first slide to you is, whenever we make a measurement, we have to be serious about the measurement, technically, psychologically. We have to understand, are our measurement results accurate? Is my measurement device working correctly? For an example, you are using a thermometer to measure something, but that thermometer is not working correct. तो आपको false fever detect होगा, या fever होगा तो fever detect ही नहीं होगा, आप medicine ही नहीं लोगे. All right. Similarly, if we are using something, for an example, we are using a scale to measure something and we are not able to measure that correctly, that measurement also goes wrong, which can eventually affect the functioning of your final measurement. So being accurate in the measurements is extremely important. Now the next slide says what metrology is. Okay? हम सब metrology के साथ हमेशा confusion में आ जाते हैं meteorology को लेके. Meteorology is the science of weather conditions, whereas metrology is the science of measurement and its applications. Metrology or meteorology, there is a lot of difference between the two. Sound or spellings almost they appear like the similar ones, but they are entirely different. Meteorology is something related to the weather, to the climate, and metrology is the science of measurement and its applications. Now, how do we define measurements? अगर हमसे कोई पूछ ले कि measurement को आप define कैसे करोगे? How do we define measurement? We define measurement by saying that we assign a number to any quality. किसी भी trait को, किसी भी attribute को जब हम एक number assign कर देते हैं, तब वो measurement कहलाता है. For an example, how heavy is an object? And in answer, if you say this is very heavy, this is not a measurement. If you say this weighs 10 kilograms, that is measurement. How hot it is? It's very hot today. That is not measurement. The temperature outside is 42 degrees centigrade. That is measurement. How long this table is? This table is very long. This is not measurement. This table is 1.5 meters long. That is measurement. So, whenever we assign a number to any quality or any attribute or any trait, we call it measurement. But the measurement is not complete until we give a unit also. 10 kilogram weight की बात हुई, 10 किलोमीटर डिस्टेंस की बात हुई, 10 डिग्री सेंटीग्रेड टेम्परेचर की बात हुई, 10 सेकेंड्स टाइम की बात हुई. तो किसी भी नंबर के साथ साथ दिस इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू असाइन द यूनिट टू कंप्लीट द मेजरमेंट. If at all you only assign a number, you do not assign a unit, the measurement is not complete. So you have to assign the number as well as the unit, then only the measurement is complete. But now the question is, what metrology does? Why do we feel that metrology is important for us? Why am I delivering a lecture on metrology, on measurement, and why are you listening it? So first of all, we have to be very, very sure that the topic we are covering here is very, very important for you, for me, for the society, for the industry, and all the economic conditions in our country. So what metrology does? Metrology, which is a science of measurement and its application, it establishes international standards for measurement to be used by all the country in science and industry both. Science and industry both का मतलब research and development and industry both. तो metrology का काम है कि वो internationally uniform standards को establish करे, measurement standards को, जिनको हम industry में और science में use कर सकते. जब तक across the globe, across the world, when there is no uniformity in the measurements, there will always be problems when we talk about export and import. So export import को successful करने के लिए, to make export import successful, we have to have a uniform system of measurements across the globe, across the world. Then only the export import phenomena will work fine. Else, something being manufactured in Japan, being measured in Japan, will be misfit in England. So the uniformity of measurement across the world has to be maintained. So now, as I told you, measurement is an essential need to keep accuracy in our various day-to-day activities. As I told you, for an example, we are measuring body temperature with the help of a thermometer, and if the thermometer shows 100 degree Fahrenheit temperature, are we in fever? Our normal body temperature is 98.6 Fahrenheit, but the thermometer is showing 100 Fahrenheit. So are we in fever? We will be in fever only when the temperature measuring device or the thermometer is measuring correct. If it is not measuring correct, you may be in fever at a temperature more than 100 Fahrenheit, or you may not be in a fever at all. But if you are in fever, you should be taking a medicine. If you are not in fever, you will not take any medicine. But how to decide that? That can only be decided based upon accurate measurements. So accurate measurement is very, very important in every aspect of life, be it time, be it temperature, be it length, be it weight, be it the electrotechnical quantities. Accurate measurements are the ones who keep our life on the track, and they are for the betterment of the society. Now, if we talk about the science and technology and the industrial aspect, who all need accurate and precise measurements? Every time I am speaking accurate measurement, precise measurement, I believe that you understand what is accuracy and what is precision, but I will again cover this up in my upcoming slides. So first of all, we need to understand that if at all we are dedicating this much of time to understand what measurement is, we have to understand that who all in our daily lives, who all around us need these accurate and precise measurements from the perspective of science and technology. Okay? Automobile industry, any automobile industry cannot run without accurate, correct, reliable, dependable measurements. Manufacturing industry, whatever products we are using, they are being manufactured at one or the other place. If the manufacturing industry is not using accurate and precise measurements, the manufacturing results will always be full of errors. There will be scrap, there will be wastage. Then aerospace industry, very, very important. If there are measurement lapses in aerospace industries, the aerospaces, the planes, the cargos, they may fail in air, which may cause life of hundreds of people. So the aerospace industry also depends upon accurate and precise measurements. Then comes the pharmaceutical industry. Imagine we have a balance using which we have to decide the composition of a tablet in pharmaceutical industry. And if the balance is faulty, it will measure something erroneous. and if it measures something erroneous, the composition of the tablet or the medicine would not be the way it should be. And if the composition is not correct, it will not be able to cure the disease, or it may cause some very, very severe side effects. For an example, we have a tablet of 10 milligrams in which we have to add a salt of a quantity 5 micrograms. And if we weigh that 5 micrograms in a balance, and if the balance is not measuring correct, that 5 micrograms may go 7 micrograms or 3 micrograms. It may be an overdose of the salt in the medicine, or it may be the underdose of the salt in the medicine. In both the cases, the medicine would not work the way it should work. So the pharmaceutical industry also essentially depends upon the accurate and precise measurement. Then comes the defense industry. डिफेंस इंडस्ट्री में जो गन्स यूज होती हैं, बाकी जो इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स यूज होते हैं, जो आपके बड़े आर्मामेंट्स वगैरह यूज होते हैं, उन सब में एक्यूरेट और प्रिसाइज मेजरमेंट का होना बहुत जरूरी है. Then comes research and development organization. You name any big research and development organization, we have an answer for you to tell you that how the measurements are playing an important role in those organizations. If you talk about ISRO, Indian Space Research Organization, NPL's IST, where Dr. Poonam Arora works, the Indian Standard Time provides them the time traceability using which they launch their satellites. तो इसरो का सैटेलाइट लॉन्चिंग भी टाइम के करेक्ट मेजरमेंट पे डिपेंड करता है. Then comes the semiconductor industry. We all of us know that in semiconductor industry there are various chips and circuits जहाँ पे contacts का एरिया बहुत precisely measure होना जरूरी है. If at all we are not able to measure those contact areas precisely, the semiconductor industry will bear huge losses. Then comes diagnostics. जैसे कि अभी हमने थर्मोमीटर का एग्जांपल दिया, ऐसे ही जो डायग्नोस्टिक्स इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स हैं, if they are not measuring correct, the diagnostics may go wrong, and if the diagnostics goes wrong, the treatment wouldn't be right and the person may have serious consequences. If we talk about the types of metrology, we get to know that there are various types of metrology. Classifying them broadly, we can say that physical metrology, chemical metrology, legal metrology, industrial metrology and scientific metrology. इन सारी metrologies के अपने अपने dedicated work है. Physical metrology, if at all we broadly define it, we can say that all the physical parameters, all the physical measurement units like mass, length, temperature, pressure, force, acoustics and vibrations, fluid flow, this all comes in physical metrology. Then comes chemical metrology, where we do the measurements related to chemistry, like gas flow, reference materials, that all comes into the chemical metrology. Then comes legal metrology. As the name suggests, legal metrology is something related to the legal aspects. If any shopkeeper or any industry is not following proper measurement, then the legal metrology can always, it can always raise a question on them, stating that the measurements being made by them are not correct and they are not, treating the customer honestly. Then comes the industrial metrology. Whatever metrology we do in industries, that is industrial metrology. And then comes the scientific metrology. Scientific metrology means the research and development related to the metrology, and also maintaining high-end measurement instruments, and maintaining the SI units for maintaining the primary standards for realizing the SI units. So metrology के 3 major roles हैं. पहला रोल है टेक्निकल, जो हम टेक्निकल सर्विसेज प्रोवाइड करते हैं. We do the research and development, we provide the technical consultancies, we provide the apex level calibration services, that all comes in the technical. Then comes awareness creation, जो हम अभी कर रहे हैं. We are creating awareness among the school children, that telling them that what metrology is and how important the measurements are. Then comes the regulatory requirement, which comes under legal metrology, which means enforcement of metrology down the lines. So if we want to know that किसी भी कंट्री के इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर में मेट्रोलॉजी को सपोर्ट करने वाले यूजुअली कौन कौन से ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस होते हैं, और हम उस पर्सपेक्टिव में इफ यू टॉक अबाउट इंडिया, we say that there are main 4 pillars which serve to strengthen the quality infrastructure of our country. First of them is the NMI of India, National Metrology Institute of India, which is National Physical Laboratory. National Physical Laboratory has a mandate of maintaining and operating the measurement standards for various quantities. Then comes Bureau of Indian Standards, इसको आप सब लोग जानते हैं, आपने अपने घर के प्रोडक्ट्स का ISI का जो मार्क देखा है, that is given by BIS. Then comes legal metrology. As I told you, the reinforcement of metrology down the line is done by legal metrology. And then comes the accreditation bodies. जैसे हम schools का, colleges का accreditation करते हैं, उसी तरह से there are accreditation bodies who assist the organizations who work in metrology. तो ये 4 pillars हैं. These are 4 pillars which are responsible for strengthening the quality infrastructure of India. Then who does apex level metrology? All the time we are asking questions. We are talking about apex level metrology, which means the top level of metrology, the best kind of measurements. Who does that? So the NMIs around the world do the apex level metrology. Like we have CSIR NPL in India, which is the NMI of India. Then we have an NMI in America, which is NIST. Then similarly we have an NMI in Germany, which is called PTV. Then we have NMI in England, which is called NPL. Then we have NMI in Italy, which is called INRIM. We have NMI in France, which is called LNE. We have NMI in Japan, which is called NMI Japan. We have NMI in China, which is called NIM China. So every country has an NMI. So NMI का importance इतना ज़्यादा है, measurements का importance इतना ज़्यादा है, और authentic और reliable measurements को ensure करने की जिम्मेदारी होती है NMI की. तो NMI का importance इतना ज़्यादा है that every country has an NMI, so that they can make the reliable, dependable measurements and disseminate the metrology down the line from the apex level, from the primary standard, from the SI unit to the working standards. तो किसी NMI का काम क्या होता है? For an example, you must be wondering कि NPL है, National Physical Laboratory है. We are being told that this is a National Metrology Institute. Why NPL was required? Why a National Metrology Institute in any country is required? So as I told you, National Metrology Institute is required to maintain and disseminate the measurement standards for base units down the line from the SI unit to the working standards. Then it is required for providing traceable calibration and testing services of the apex level. The NMI is also expected to conduct research and development related to measurement, which contributes in nation's economic growth. And the NMI also ascertains that whatever measurements are being done, they are fit for purpose, which means the measurements serve the purpose. The measurements which are being done, they are target oriented and they are being done in the correct way. कि जिस भी purpose को ध्यान में रख करके उन measurements को किया जा रहा है, those measurements are fit for the purpose. Now we will cover some basic definitions which are related to metrology. You must have seen in my previous slides, I used this word traceability multiple times. बहुत बार मैंने traceable measurement, traceability establishment, dissemination of traceable measurements down the line. I've been repeating this. So what traceability is? Trace तो हम सब जानते हैं ना, tracing something, okay? Connecting the dots is tracing something. So traceability pyramid is a kind of system which tells you that how to make our measurements traceable, authentic, reliable and connected to the SI units. अब आप यहाँ ट्राइंगल देखेंगे लेफ्ट हैंड साइड में टॉप में, तो आप देखोगे कि सबसे पहले ऊपर SI units, उसके बाद प्राइमरी स्टैंडर्ड्स, देन कम्स द नेशनल स्टैंडर्ड, देन कम्स द रेफरेंस स्टैंडर्ड्स, देन द वर्किंग स्टैंडर्ड्स एंड देन द मेजरिंग इंस्ट्रूमेंट. So SI unit is the definition which is being realized in terms of a fundamental constant of physics. Then the primary standard, which is being used to realize this SI unit. So NMI of any country lies here, majorly. Okay. Then comes the national standard, then comes the reference standard, then comes the working standard, and then comes the measuring instrument. Here is where our thermometers, scales, meter bars, our weights, जिनसे हम सामान weigh करके खरीदते हैं, our balances in the market, they lie here. So look at the difference between the status of an NMI and the weights or the measuring instruments which are being used in our daily lives. So primary standards are closest to the SI units because they are used for realization of SI units. फिर primary standards से हम traceability disseminate करते हैं national standards को, then reference standards, then working standards, and then measuring standards. So second last ऊपर से टॉप से जो सेकेंड स्टेज है वहां पे मेजरली एनएमआईज लाई करते हैं, और जो बॉटम लेवल है वहां पे हम अपने डेली रूटीन में करने वाले मेजरमेंट्स को वहां पे हम लाई करवा सकते हैं. सो आवर traceability pyramid in NPL looks like this. If any time you get a chance to visit NPL, you will see this traceability pyramid, which is a huge structure in NPL premises, and you will see that the pyramid at the top it has SI units, then it has the primary standard, then secondary standards, then reference standards, then working standards, and then measuring instruments. Now, why traceability is required? अब हमने कोई measurement किए, not those measurements which we are doing in school or at sabji wala's shop or at the general store nearby our houses or at the clothes store. Measurements which are critical, which should be authenticated, which should be dependable, which should be reliable, which can cause serious consequences on society, on our lives. So those measurements mandatorily should be traceable. अब traceable का मतलब है कि किसी भी तरह से measurement को link करना है हमें SI unit का. तो आप देखोगे इस traceability pyramid में top to bottom हमने एक chain establish करी है. SI unit के नीचे, फिर कुछ उसके नीचे, फिर कुछ उसके नीचे, फिर कुछ उसके नीचे, फिर कुछ उसके नीचे कुछ. तो traceability का मतलब है unbroken chain of comparison which eventually leads to the SI units. अब comparison हम कैसे करेंगे? इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स का कंपैरिजन, जिसको हम मेट्रोलॉजी की लैंग्वेज में कैलिब्रेशन भी बोल सकते हैं. हम अपने स्टैंडर्ड इंस्ट्रूमेंट से एक नॉर्मल इंस्ट्रूमेंट को कंपेयर करेंगे, एंड देन वी विल देन जो हमारा स्टैंडर्ड है उसको हम फर्दर बेटर स्टैंडर्ड से कंपेयर करेंगे. फिर अब उस स्टैंडर्ड को हम प्राइमरी स्टैंडर्ड से कंपेयर करेंगे, और प्राइमरी स्टैंडर्ड को वी यूज फॉर द रियलाइजेशन ऑफ एसआई यूनिट. तो इस तरह से हम एक ट्रेसेबिलिटी एस्टैब्लिशमेंट इज the establishment of unbroken chain of comparisons, making sure that each measurement is traceable to the SI unit. You blindly do a measurement and you claim that this measurement is reliable, dependable, correct, accurate. That doesn't make any sense till your measurement is traceable to the SI unit. तो traceability metrology का backbone है. अगर measurements traceable नहीं है तो metrology की authenticity पे हमेशा ही question. ठीक है. तो मान लीजिए एक मेजरमेंट मेरी लैब ने किया, एक मेजरमेंट आपकी लैब ने किया, और एक मेजरमेंट किसी और लैब ने किया. अब हम तीनों ने मेजरमेंट्स किए, तो उन मेजरमेंट्स को ऑथेंटिकेट करने का व्हाट वे डू वी हैव? वी डू नॉट हैव एनी वे टू ऑथेंटिकेट दोस मेजरमेंट्स. whose measurements are bad, whose measurements are okay, and whose measurements are best. So for that we need to establish traceability chain through a chain of comparisons, making our measurement eventually traceable to the SI. तो ये हो गई traceability की definition. छोटे बच्चों के लिए मे भी थोड़ा डिफिकल्ट है समझना, लेकिन मुझे लगता है कि 11th-12th के बच्चों को ये समझने में आसानी होगी. ट्रेसेबिलिटी की रिक्वायरमेंट हमें क्यों है? Why do we always use the term traceable measurements? Because we want to make sure that our measurements are authentic and dependable. Then comes the term accuracy. Okay. Other term is precision. Now look at the 4 circles at the bottom. Up to define accuracy and precision, we have to first define the term true value. True value या correct value या nominal value. The nominal value or true value is the value which is an imaginary value in absence of any kind of errors. For an example, we have to weigh 10 kilograms. So 10 kilograms is the true value. And you make the measurement, something you are weighing, and you are making the measurements 4 times, and all the 4 times, the values are coming closer to 10 kilograms. Then your measurement set is said to be accurate. ठीक है? मान लीजिए आपने 10 किलोग्राम मेजर करना है, वे करना है, आपने वे किया, आपका बैलेंस ने बताया 10.1 किलोग्राम, फिर बैलेंस ने फिर बताया 10.1 किलोग्राम, फिर बैलेंस ने बताया 9.9 किलोग्राम, फिर से बैलेंस ने बताया 10.1 किलोग्राम. That means all the 4 measurements are closer to the 10 kilogram, which says that the measurement set is accurate. Now we have, for an example, we have another set, okay, and the set for the same measurements of nominal value of 10 kilogram, the set weighs 9.9 kilogram, 9.9 kilogram, 9.9 kilogram, 9.9 kilogram. Okay, all these 4 values are close to 10 kilogram, so the set is accurate, and also all these 4 values are close to each other, so the set is precise. So in this condition, first coil, first circle in this slide, the leftmost would be the set, which is accurate, close to the true value, and all the measurements are close to each other. So this is, the set is said to be accurate and precise. On the other hand, if you look at the rightmost diagram, you would see that all the 4 values are scattered, and also they are away from the center if the center is considered to be true value. So all the 4 values are scattered and all those values are away from the center, which means that the measurement set is neither accurate nor precise. Why? Because it is not close to the true value and it is not closer to each other. For an example, against 10 kilogram nominal value, we get a set of 8.5 kilogram, 8.9 kilogram, 6.7 kilogram, 7.5 kilogram. So there are 4 values which are not close to the true value and which are not close to each other. So the measurement is neither accurate nor precise. So I would say to specifically say that this measurement set is better, we have to be sure that the measurement set is accurate and precise, and one should have a habit of repeating the measurements to be sure about the accuracy and precision of the measurement. अगर आप एक ही बार measurement लेंगे तो आप कभी ये decide नहीं कर पाएंगे कि measurement accurate भी है, नहीं है, precise है, नहीं है. So repeatedly make that measurement again and again the same measurement. Then only you'll be able to state that the measurement is accurate and the measurement is precise. अब यहाँ पे हम एक example देखेंगे, ठीक है? This fellow is trying to measure something. See, he has a wooden block जिसको उन्होंने measure करना है, and measure करने के लिए he is using this kind of a scale. तो आप जरा इस डायग्राम को ध्यान से देखिए बेटा, और मुझे ये बताइए कि आपको लगता है कि ये मेजरमेंट का सही तरीका है? बिल्कुल ध्यान से डायग्राम को देखिए, ठीक है? There is a wooden block which he is trying to measure using this scale, and do you feel that the measurement method is correct? अगर आपको मेजरमेंट करने को दिया जाता तो आप इसी तरह से मेजरमेंट करते, इसी तरह से आप मेजरमेंट करते. आप इस डायग्राम को ध्यान से देखिए और आइडेंटिफाई करिए कि इसमें कितनी मिस्टेक्स हैं, ठीक है? तो इफ इट ऑल वी ट्राई टू आइडेंटिफाई दीज मिस्टेक्स, वी वुड सी दैट ही इज मेजरिंग फ्रॉम द रॉन्ग एंड. जब भी हम स्केल यूज करते हैं मेजरमेंट के लिए, वी हैव अ टेंडेंसी ऑफ मेजरिंग those from the zero side, whereas he is trying to measure this from 100 mm. Okay, and then he is measuring 95.4, whereas if you look at this 0.4 measurement using this scale is difficult. Okay, the units are wrong. He is holding the object in his hand. Object और scale का जो axis है वो आपस में misalign हो सकता है, because the object is being held in the hand, which can wobble also. There is a gap between the object and the scale, which will always cause wrong measurements, and he is looking from the wrong side. अगर हमें स्केल से मेजर करना है तो हमें स्केल को सही साइड से देखना जरूरी है. He's not looking from the right side, he's looking from the wrong side. He's not standing at a proper position to look at the scale in a right way. Okay, so there are different kind of mistakes. So when we make measurements, we have to be very, very careful so that we will not make these measurements, else the measurement would go wrong. Let us now discuss कि छोटी छोटी measurement mistakes, how dangerous they can be. I have just two examples for you. नासा जो था वो एक अपना क्लाइमेट ऑर्बिटर को लॉन्च करने के प्रोसेस में थे. they were there, they wanted to launch some climate orbiter. So what happened is, when they tried to calculate the trajectory of that orbiter, they used wrong units. उन्होंने मिलीमीटर की जगह सेंटीमीटर, सेंटीमीटर की जगह किलोमीटर, किलोमीटर की जगह मीटर ले लिया. They used wrong units and they decided the trajectory and they launched that. So when they launched that, because the calculation was wrong, it was expected to go somewhere, and because of the mismatch in the units, it did not reach the correct orbit. It was misplaced. Why? Because the calculation was wrong because of the wrong units. Then another example is, there was a airplane in which the fuel was to be filled. The fuel to be filled, the unit of the fuel to be filled was in liters, but when they measured it, they considered to fill the fuel tank of the aircraft, they by default they thought that the unit is in gallon और लीटर में डिफरेंस हुआ, जिसकी वजह से जितना फ्यूल जाना चाहिए था उतना फ्यूल एयरक्राफ्ट में गया नहीं और उसकी इमरजेंसी लैंडिंग हमें करनी पड़ गई. हमें मतलब whosoever was flying that aircraft. तो यूनिट्स और मेजरमेंट्स में छोटी छोटी गलतियां इतने सीरियस कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस को रिजल्ट कर सकती हैं. दैट इज व्हाई वी ऑलवेज एज मेट्रोलॉजिस्ट, being people from the National Metrology Institute of India, NPL, we always try explaining to people that metrology is to be taken care of very, very seriously. अब कुछ इंपॉर्टेंट मेजरमेंट्स की बात करते हैं जो मैंने अपनी लैब में किए हैं, जो मैं आपको समझा दूं कि कहाँ कहाँ पे क्या क्या मेजरमेंट्स की इंपॉर्टेंस होती है. तो आप वी ऑल नो दैट दीज डेज हम प्रोस्थेटिक्स यूज करते हैं, इम्प्लांट्स को यूज करते हैं. सो इफ एट ऑल वी टॉक अबाउट द डेंटल इम्प्लांट्स या किसी भी तरह के ऑर्गन इम्प्लांट्स की अगर हम बात करें, they should have a certain kind of surface roughness. They should have a certain value of surface roughness. If their surface roughness is different from what has been standardized, they will not be compatible with the human tissue. And if they are not compatible with the human tissue, they will not be long lasting. मान लीजिए हमने डेंटल इम्प्लांट लगाया, डेंटल इम्प्लांट का जो सरफेस रफनेस है वो हमारे गम के टिश्यू के साथ कंपैटिबल नहीं है, so that dental implant will come out, it will not adhere there for a longer period of time. Second example, all the surgical instruments, they ought to have a certain value of surface roughness. If the surface roughness of those surgical instruments is not correct, specifically for the forceps, they will not work properly. Forceps, where do we use those forceps? We use those forceps to pull out the human tissue for any kind of testing and all. If at all the surface roughness of the jaws of the forceps is not appropriate, they will go inside the body, they will hold the human tissue, but when we pull those human tissues, they will slip down. वो slip कर जाएंगे क्योंकि forceps के jaws की surface roughness proper नहीं है. Okay? Then thin films measurement. किसी भी फिल्म की थिकनेस, जब भी हम कोई कोटिंग करते हैं किसी भी सबस्ट्रेट पे, द फिल्म थिकनेस ऑफ दैट पर्टिकुलर कोटिंग, थिकनेस ऑफ दैट पर्टिकुलर कोटिंग ड्रास्टिकली अफेक्ट्स द फिल्म कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स. को बहुत अफेक्ट करती है वो कि फिल्म की कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स क्या होंगी, बाकी फिजिकल ऑप्टिकल कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स पर्टिकुलर फिल्म की क्या होंगी. सो थिन फिल्म कोटिंग, थिन फिल्म थिकनेस मेजरमेंट्स इज आल्सो समथिंग व्हिच इज बीइंग डन, which is to be done very, very carefully. Then comes the photovoltaic devices, जिनके डायमेंशनल मेजरमेंट्स हम लोग करते हैं. जैसे मैंने आपको बताया कॉन्टैक्ट पॉइंट्स हैं, मास्क हैं. फोटोवोल्टाइक डिवाइसेस कौन से होते हैं? जिनमें हम सनलाइट को यूज करके वी क्रिएट एनर्जी, राइट? सो इफ एट ऑल द मेजरमेंट्स ऑफ दोज फोटोवोल्टाइक डिवाइसेस आर नॉट डन प्रॉपर्ली, चाहे वो डायमेंशनल मेजरमेंट्स हैं, चाहे वो सरफेस मेजरमेंट्स हैं, the photovoltaic device would not work the way it should work. So that has to be done very, very carefully. अब हम बात करते हैं मीटर की. Why I am considering meter? Because I am working in length and dimensions. I'll take the example of meter. Meter is the most known unit for all of us. चाहे कोई distance measure करना है, चाहे कोई length measure करनी है, तो हम meter की बात सबसे ज्यादा करते हैं. Meter is the SI unit of length. Earlier what happened? Earlier जो measurements होते थे in old civilization, the measurements were to be done using the length of somebody's hand from elbow to the finger, foot, and yards, cubit, different things. All these measurement methods were correct until unless हमें scientifically advanced नहीं होना था, तब तक ये measurements ठीक थे. But once people realized that the scientific advancement should be there should be kind of trade-off between the business and the trade between the countries, then they realized that the uniformity of measurement standards is very, very important. इसीलिए उसके बाद जो नेक्स्ट जनरेशन में आया वो फिर आया क्यूबिट. क्यूबिट क्या होता था? जो मेसोपोटामियन और इजिप्ट के किंग्स होते थे, उनके एल्बो से लेकर के उनकी फिंगर की टिप, लॉन्गेस्ट फिंगर की टिप तक का जो लेंथ होता था उसको हम क्यूबिट बोलते थे. बट देन सिंस इट इज ह्यूमन बेस्ड मेजरमेंट मेथड, कोई किंग लंबा है, कोई छोटा है, कोई जायंट है, कोई पतला है, दिस क्यूबिट वाज आल्सो नॉट यूनिफॉर्म. उसके बाद क्यूबिट को उन्होंने बनाना शुरू किया है ग्रेनाइट ब्लॉक की फॉर्म में. ठीक है, ये सब तब तक ठीक था जब तक, जैसे कि मैंने आपको बताया, जब तक हमारे मेजरमेंट्स बहुत कोर्स और रॉ लेवल के थे. बट देन एज पीपल रियलाइज्ड कि technological advancement, scientific advancement should be there, cross-border trades should be there, then they realized that the uniformity of measurement is very, very important. अगर हमें कोई इंडस्ट्रियल डेवलपमेंट करना है, अगर हमें इंटरचेंजेबल पार्ट्स बनाना है, साइंटिफिक इन्वेस्टिगेशन करना है, तो हमें स्टैंडर्ड्स की यूनिफॉर्मिटी जरूरी चाहिए थी. तो उसके बाद जो इवोल्यूशन हुआ डायमेंशनल मेजरमेंट मेथड्स का, it evolved to the definition of meter. So meter definition first came into the picture in 18th century, starting from the, it was defined, 10 to the power minus 7 parts of the distance between the North Pole and the equator. इसके terms में then they defined the Earth's circumference also. Later in 1799, it was defined that meter is a platinum iridium bar. ठीक है, अब every country who had a duplicate of this bar, again it was not of same length, and also over the years the bar was corroded, it was worn out, then again it was not uniform. उसके बाद धीरे धीरे जब हमने मीटर की डेफिनेशन को we tried to modify it, then in 1983 it was defined in terms of the speed of light in vacuum. The definition says that 1 meter is the distance traveled by light in vacuum in 1/299792458 of a second. Okay, then we defined the meter in terms of the speed of light. अब speed of light की term में define करने का फायदा ये था, speed of light is one of the fundamental constants of physics which doesn't change much with time. So in lakhs of years the speed of light doesn't change. So if we define something in terms of something which is not changing, the definition is more intact and more reliable. फिर एक छोटा सा एडिशन और हुआ इसकी डेफिनेशन में, जिसमें हमने सीजियम की फ्रीक्वेंसी को इनकॉर्पोरेट किया. So अब मेट्रोलॉजी की इंपॉर्टेंस कहाँ आती है? मीटर, जैसे कि मैंने आपको पहले भी बताया कि डायमेंशनल मेजरमेंट्स मतलब लेंथ, ब्रेथ, डायमीटर, एंगल, दीज ऑल आर नोन एज डायमेंशनल मेजरमेंट्स. इन सारे मेजरमेंट्स की जो इंपॉर्टेंस है वो इंडस्ट्री में बहुत ज्यादा है. It is very rare that every component which is being used in an industry is manufactured there. It's very rare. We collect the spare parts and we assemble them at a single place. So if all the industries which are making those spare parts are not conversant enough with metrology, they will not be able to manufacture dimensionally correct parts, and when we assemble them, the assembly will not work in a correct way. Okay, in the dimensional measurements, if at all they are neglected by any chance, the diminished negligence in dimensional metrology causes very, very serious effects, especially in case of automobile and avionic industry, which can affect the efficiency of the vehicle, its speed, and also affect the fuel consumption. So मीटर मेट्रोलॉजी का एस्पेक्ट जो स्पेसिफिकली बहुत इंपॉर्टेंस है, दैट इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट इन द इंडस्ट्रियल मैन्युफैक्चरिंग. तो उनको हम किसी भी कंपोनेंट को बनाते हैं, मान लीजिए हम एक रिंग बनाते हैं, हम एक सिलेंडर बनाते हैं, हम एक बॉक्स बनाते हैं, तो उन सारे कंपोनेंट्स के शेप को एक्यूरेटली डिफाइन करने के लिए, ठीक है, इफ एट ऑल वी वांट टू मेजर द डिस्प्लेसमेंट व्हिच इज अनदर काइंड ऑफ डायमेंशनल मेजरमेंट, उसके लिए then for an example a designer designs something and a manufacturer manufactures something, so dimensional metrology, correct dimensional metrology establishes a link between the two. Okay, and dimensions are very very important, which are to be taken care of while manufacturing something, so that the final assembly works in a correct way. अगर डायमेंशनल मेजरमेंट्स को ओवरलुक किया तो हमें ये पता ही नहीं चलेगा कि कहाँ पे गड़बड़ है, और हमें ये समझ ही में नहीं आएगा कि किस खराबी की वजह से जो फाइनल प्रोडक्ट है वो सही से काम नहीं कर रहा है. इफ एट ऑल द प्रोडक्ट डजंट वर्क द वे इट इज डिजायर्ड टू वर्क, देन इट इज नॉट कॉल्ड अ क्वालिटी. सो मैन्युफैक्चरिंग में क्वालिटी कंट्रोल के लिए भी हमें डायमेंशन, वी हैव टू बी वेरी वेरी केयरफुल अबाउट द डायमेंशनल मेजरमेंट्स. एंड डायमेंशनल मेट्रोलॉजी, एज आई टोल्ड यू, इट कवर्स flatness, roundness, cylindricity, diameter, length, angle, roughness, flatness, many things. Okay, so manufacturing में, quality control में, dimensional metrology is the most important phenomenon. For example, you are holding a mobile phone in your hand. Okay, it should be comfortable. Like while you hand a mobile phone in your hand, you should be comfortable holding that mobile phone, doing the typing on it, dialing a number. For an example, if the size of the mobile phone is small, it will be difficult for you to type. It will be difficult for you to hold. It will slip from your hand. And if the size is too big, again, it will be difficult for you to handle that. So, to to have a quality product, one should be very, very careful about the measurements being done, specifically the dimensional measurement. So, if you see, this is a schematic diagram of an industry where the different kind of procedures are being done. And what are they doing? They are doing one process and then measuring again. Then they are doing another process, clamping that, doing another process, then measuring again. So in industry, when we manufacture a product, we all know that without products, our life is not possible. So everything is being manufactured in an industry. So how the industry is working, keeping that metrology in consideration, it is very important to understand for you, for certain kind of awareness creation, and also to dig in your scientific temperament. So in industry, we manufacture something, we measure that. If at all the size is okay, we move ahead. If at all there are certain problems, we again do the processing and we again measure. Till the time the final product comes out as per our expectations, which is known as the quality product. So how does the measurement affect the production? Quality improvement है, wastage कम है, और customer satisfaction. अब मेट्रोलॉजी का एक बहुत important term है जिसको हम interchangeability कहते हैं. I'm very sure that you will be able to correlate with this. Say for an example, all of you have half liter Bisleri bottles with you. Okay, you have half liter. Each one of you have half liter Bisleri bottles with you. By any chance, you drop the cap of your bottle. Okay, आपने अपनी बॉटल की कैप खो दी, गिरा दी. So another half liter Bisleri bottle's cap can always be used with your bottle. It is not like that one cap is specifically for one bottle, other cap is specifically for other bottle. Any cap, any bottle can be combined and can be used. Similar thing with the nut and bolts. We have a size of bolts, we have a size of nut. Any nut can fit into any bolt can fit into any nut. Similarly, any company tire can fit into a specific size. They are not company specified products. So this is known as interchangeability. As the name suggests, we can interchange them. Okay. These are certain examples you would see where metrology is very, very important. See, this is, the big turbine is there. There also metrology is important, because you have to check the turbine profile. You have to check the width of the turbine blades. You have to check all the curves. Then you have to check the weight. Then the second diagram is a robotic arm which is helping in agriculture. So this robotic arm is also manufactured somewhere. If at all we are not careful about metrology, this robotic arm will not work the way it should. Then you see the wind turbines. So all these wind turbines are also, if their successful outcomes are also a result of correct metrology. Then comes the semiconductor industry, whereas I already explained that the metrology is very, very important. So, as I told you, to measure is to know. We measure, we know, and we correct it if it is required. If it is not required, we convert it into a final product. So, evolution of metrology is, as I told you, it is from the human hand to the fundamental constant of physics, which is, if at all we talk in terms of, if at all we talk in reference of the meter, to the fundamental constant of physics, which is the speed of light in vacuum. So the metrology helps in ensuring quality, waste reduction, customer satisfaction, higher profit, and eventually uplifting our standard of life. Okay? फिर हम बात करते हैं एआई की. आजकल हम सारे लोग एआई के पीछे भाग रहे हैं, आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस. तो आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस इज आल्सो being combined with metrology in industries, where we use robotic arms, where we use those laser scanners, where we use those automated instruments to do all kind of measurements, decision making, inspection procedures, where the human error and the downtime is reduced. So AI in metrology is also a very, very emerging field where AI, machine learning, automation, and digitalization is being combined with metrology. So metrology is a field which is covering measuring a scale, measuring a line using a scale in your notebook to manufacturing a robotic arm. लाइन अपनी कॉपी में खींची हुई लाइन को स्केल से मेजर करने से लेकर के रोबोटिक आर्म की मैन्युफैक्चरिंग तक जो कुछ भी है सब कुछ मेट्रोलॉजी से गवर्न होता है. सो प्लीज रीड अबाउट मेट्रोलॉजी, बी विजिलेंट, try being aware what all measurements are these days are upcoming, how the metrology is growing. Then you will be, I am 100% sure that you will be able to you'll find it interesting eventually. Okay. So if you can't measure, you cannot improve. For any kind of improvement, the measurement is essential. If we measure something, we get to know that this is not perfect and we improve. And if at all we are not measuring anything, we do not have any information about it. Exams for the students are the measurement of their academic excellence. If the exams are not there, your academic excellence will not be evaluated. If it is not evaluated, there is no scope of improvement. So measurement, evaluation is necessary for improvement. So this is all from my side. Thank you very much for your patient hearing. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Girija ma'am, for such an inspiring and insightful session. Your words have truly left a lasting impact, and I'm sure our audience now has a much clearer understanding of how curiosity and scientific temperament can shape remarkable career paths. Now we will begin the question and answer session. If you have any doubts or want to explore more about the topics we have covered today, now is your chance. Turn on your videos, virtually raise your hand. We will connect you one by one to ask the questions directly to Dr. Girija ma'am. You can virtually raise your hand like this. Okay, Samaksh, unmute yourself and ask your question.
Namaskar, ma'am.
Namaskar.
Ma'am, my doubt is that why is metrology so important in our daily life? We can when we are using like the book. So why it is so much important for us?
Metrology is very, very important for us. It is very important for everything in life. For an example, there is a tube light at your back, right? I can see a tube light at your back. Is it so?
Yes,
Samash?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
There is a tube light. For an example, if the radiation coming out of this tube light is more than what your eyes can tolerate, it will cause you blindness. Will it?
Yes, ma'am.
So the radiation coming out of this tube light is to be measured correctly. If it is not measured correctly, either it will cause you difficulty in vision or it will cause you blindness. Too much of glare. So this is an example why metrology is important. You drink RO water at home, right? You measure TDS at times. If your TDS measuring device is not correct, you are drinking wrong kind of water. So the TDS measuring device measurement capability should be okay. It should be calibrated, it should measure correct. So two examples I have given you why metrology is important, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Namrata Singh, now you can ask. You unmute yourself, Namrata.
नमस्कार मैम.
नमस्ते
नमस्कार मैम.
नमस्कार बेटे, बताइए.
Ma'am, my question is in daily life use metromancy. So what are the consequences that we will face when we are not using this metromancy?
There are lot many consequences. Two examples I have already given. For an example, you are going to catch a flight. ठीक? आप एक प्लेन पकड़ने जा रहे हैं, फ्लाइट पकड़ने जा रहे हैं. आपकी फ्लाइट 7:40 पे है, ठीक है? लेकिन आपकी वॉच 10 मिनट लेट है, आपकी फ्लाइट मिस हो जाएगी.
That is also because we are not, our measurement is not perfect about it.
Yes, because your watch is not measuring correct.
It also affects in that electrical devices.
Yes, it does. Voltage, current, resistance, impedance, everywhere metrology is important. NPL has a whole division of electrotechnical measurement parameters. Okay?
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Naisha Bhatia, you can ask now. Unmute yourself.
Namaskar, ma'am.
Namaskar.
I would like to ask, like, when we got the professor's example, you mentioned that there was the parallax error, and I think all of us had experienced it whenever we are measuring it with scale. So, is there any prevention for parallax error?
It's not only in scales. Look at your, do you have a wall clock in your room?
Yeah.
Look at the wall clock. Okay? If at all you change the position of your head, do you feel that you will be able to read the time right?
No.
It will always be a change of 2 to 3 minutes the moment you shift your head, right?
Yeah.
So to avoid parallax error, you always have to make sure that you stand straight in front of the measuring device.
Okay.
Not left, not right, just straight, looking directly to the measuring device.
And ma'am, one more question. Like, we mentioned meter as a very fundamental unit, but can you explain like other unit like we have for light? So can you explain that?
Light means the luminous intensity. We have
Yes,
candela.
Can you explain that?
It has an entirely different definition. I'm not working in that area,
Okay.
so the exact definition I'll not be able to tell you, Vita.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Because I can tell you anything about meter because I'm working in meter. But candela I'm not working in.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you for solving my doubt.
Yeah.
Shakuntala Jain, you can ask now.
Ma'am, my doubt was that, like when we studied that the ancient unit was first, like before that meter was invented, then how did we find out that like we have to make meter like this, and how does the whole like how did the whole world find out that meter is the common one?
See, earlier there was no meter, right? Earlier, as I told you, there were different units. Cubit was there, foot was there. Earlier, it was no meter. Okay, so some country was following foot, some country was following cubit, some country was following something else. So there was a problem when we thought of the cross-border trade. कहीं का क्यूबिट है, वो कहीं के फुट के साथ मैच नहीं कर रहा. Okay. So the meteorologists all across the world, they thought that let us have a uniform measurement unit. So after a lot many meetings, discussions and consensus, the meteorologists reached a conclusion that let us have a first standard, let us have a platinum iridium bar of this much of length, which will be decided as 1 meter. And then after that, there are again there are challenges in using that physical artifact, because as the time passes, anything which is physical, उसमें rusting भी होती है, contamination भी होता है, wear out भी होता है, so that starts damaging over a period of time. Okay, then again there was a problem of uniformity. So then they thought that let us define meter in terms of something which doesn't change over the years, even in lakhs of thousands of years. So then the definition came in terms of the speed of light. Speed of light is constant and it remains constant for a very, very long period of time. So these all are the outcomes of long scientific discussions and policies.
Anaya Agarwal, you can ask now. Unmute yourself, Anaya.
Namaskar, ma'am.
Namaste.
Namaskar, ma'am.
हाँ बेटा नमस्ते, क्वेश्चन पूछे आप.
Ma'am, in what precise metrology in manufacturing helps?
फॉर एन एग्जाम्पल, आपको एक रिंग बनाना है, ठीक है, एक रिंग बनाना है आपको, एक फैक्ट्री में आपको एक रिंग बनाना है. मैंने आपसे कहा कि उस रिंग का डायमीटर 20 मिलीमीटर होना चाहिए, ठीक है. आपने एक रिंग बनाया जो अप्रोक्सीमेटली आपको लगता है कि 20 मिलीमीटर है. अब आपने उस रिंग को एक बार मेजर किया, वो आया 18 मिलीमीटर. फिर आपने अपने इंस्ट्रूमेंट को थोड़ा एडजस्ट किया, फिर वो आया 16 मिलीमीटर. फिर आपने उसको थोड़ा हिला डुला करके अपने स्केल को, वर्नियर कैलिपर को, जिससे भी आप मेजर कर रहे हो, आपने फिर मेजर किया, अब वो आया 22 मिलीमीटर. तो ये तो सारी अलग अलग वैल्यूज है ना, ये वैल्यूज तो सेम है नहीं. तो आप कैसे ये क्लेम करोगे कि मैंने जो रिंग बनाया वो 20 मिलीमीटर डायमीटर का है? नहीं कर सकते हैं ना. तो इसीलिए बार बार मेजरमेंट्स क्लोज आने चाहिए, सेम वैल्यू आनी चाहिए, सिमिलर वैल्यू आनी चाहिए, क्लोज होनी चाहिए वैल्यूज, तब उसको प्रिसिशन मेजरमेंट्स बोलते हैं. और जब वैल्यूज क्लोज होती हैं मेजरमेंट्स की, उसके बाद ही हम ये क्लेम कर सकते हैं कि ये जो प्रोडक्ट बना है ये सही बना है. क्योंकि 10 बार अगर मैंने उसको मेजर किया है और बार बार मुझे वही वैल्यू मिल रही है, तभी मैं इस बात को क्लेम कर पाऊंगी कि हाँ ये ठीक बना है. मैंने एक बार मेजर किया 15 मिलीमीटर आया, एक बार मेजर किया 22 मिलीमीटर आया, एक बार मेजर किया 18 मिलीमीटर आया, वो प्रिसिशन नहीं है. तो जब तक एक्यूरेसी और प्रिसिशन दोनों कंबाइन नहीं होते हैं ना, नो मेजरमेंट इज कंसिडर्ड टू बी रिलायबल. ठीक है, आपको मैं कहती हूँ अपनी स्केल पे एक लाइन ड्रॉ करो 5 सेंटीमीटर की, ठीक है. आपने वो लाइन अप्रोक्सीमेटली ड्रॉ कर ली. अगर मैंने स्केल थोड़ा सा टेढ़ा किया तो 5.2 मिलीमीटर मेजर कर सकती हूँ ना, उसको कर सकती हूँ ना. आपने थोड़ा सा उसको और एडजस्ट किया तो 4.9 भी हो सकता है, थोड़ा और एडजस्ट किया तो 4.678 भी हो सकता है ना. तो वो प्रिसिशन नहीं है. तो जब तक प्रिसिशन नहीं होगा, मतलब रिपीट नहीं होंगे मेजरमेंट बार 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 बार, तब तक काम सही नहीं हुआ है. ठीक है.
We have limited time. If you still have any questions, please share them with us at info@camp.org.in. Available in the chat box. You can find this email in the chat box. We will share them with ma'am and get back to you. So, once again, thank you so much. Thank you all for your enthusiasm and participation. And a big thank you to Dr. Girija ma'am and Dr. Poonam Arora ma'am for sharing your wisdom and experiences with us today. To all participants, the recording of this session will be available on your Camp Nasta login panel. For any further support, feel free to reach out via our website, helpline, on social media. Before we conclude, we request you all to take a moment to fill out a quick survey form. Your feedback will help us improve and serve you better. You can find the feedback link in the chat box.
Yeah, I would take a moment to thank our speaker on behalf of Indian Women Scientists Association Delhi Branch. I'm really thankful to Dr. Girija Moona to take out time from her schedule and giving this very interesting talk to the students. I'm sure they have learned a lot on metrology, and they'll never forget from today onwards the importance of metrology, and they'll adopt the methods that you have talked about for making precise measurements and improving the life and improving the quality of work wherever they go and whatever they do. And thank you to the CAMP platform for giving us this platform for disseminating science information. See you all next week with another speaker on another interesting topic. Thank you all very much. Thank you. Good evening.
Thank you so much.
Thank you everyone for being a part of today's workshop. Stay tuned for our next exciting camp session. Until then, keep exploring, learning, and applying these strategies in your lives. Have a fantastic day, everyone, and we will see you in the next session.